This is Jacob Alexander. Today we're going to be going over my self-audit, Title IX, William Woods University. But first, I want to talk to you about the three prongs that make up Title IX and their audits. Number one, equal proportions. Number two, showing growth. And number three, meet the needs of the student body. I'm going to kind of go a little bit more in depth for each prong. So for number one, we have equal proportions. The definition being provide athletic participation opportunities that are substantially proportionate to the undergrad's enrollment. Now for prong number two, showing growth. The definition be to demonstrate a continual expansion of athletic opportunities for the underrepresented sex. And for number three, meet the needs of the student body. Fully accommodate the interests and abilities of the underrepresented sex. All right. Now, kind of a brief history about William Woods University and their athletic program. First, the institution that is now known as William Woods University was founded in 1870. Back then, it was an all-women's school, mainly there for orphanage for the war. In 1962, it became a four-year college. And then in 1993, it began offering graduate degrees and admitting men as well as women into all its programs. Okay, now for my audit, I decided to choose prong number three. And for prong number three, found that there are 11 criteria for this area of Title IX that have to be sufficient enough to pass. Number one, being the locker rooms, practice, and competition facilities. Number two, equipment and supplies. Number three, scheduling of games and practice times. Number four, publicity. Number five, coaching. Number six, travel and daily allowance. Number seven, academic tutoring. Number eight, provision of medical training facilities and services. Number nine, provision of housing, dining facilities and services. And number 10, recruitment of student athletes. Number 11, support services. Now, I'm going to take you through all of the 11 for William Woods. As you'll notice, some are mainly based upon the athletics. I will also incorporate, as I talk, a little bit more so about just being a regular student and having all the accommodations as well. So for the locker rooms, practice and competition facilities, William Woods has two sets of locker rooms. One, which is by the gym for men's and women's basketball, and also for women's volleyball. Two, second at the soccer fields for the men's and women's soccer teams, which is also, since it's by the soccer field, it is located it's not off of campus, but on the other side, north side of campus. And other sports, if they want to, can use the locker rooms by the gym, but do not necessarily have official locker rooms. Now, for practice and competition, everyone uses their respective facility in which we each have. So, for men's and women's soccer, they each have a practice field and their game field. For volleyball, they have their court. For men's and women's basketball, they have their courts as well, which they have to schedule with volleyball. For men's and women's tennis, they have their tennis courts, just one. For baseball, they have their baseball field. For softball, they have their own softball field, which are right next door to each other. And for golf, men's and women's golf, they go out and use the country club, the course that they use here in Fulton. Equipment and supplies. All sports run on the same budget. All sports play on their counterparts' fields, besides softball and baseball, which I said are located right next to each other, but both have different fields, but are accommodated the same way. In that sense, it's more so they each have grandstands, a scoreboard, seating, parking, dugouts. The only thing different is the dimension of the field, which in softball and baseball, those are two completely different things. Now, for scheduling of games and practice times, by the NAIA, all teams have different rules for how long and when they can practice. But William Woods does a really good job of looking after it very strongly, in the sense of if you start on a day for your off-season practice, that's when it starts, even though you may not have thought, oh, I can just kind of squeeze in this little thing here without anybody noticing. No, they notice. So they do a really good job of making sure the rules are followed. Scheduling is up to coaches to make games and practice fit. In that sense is every coach has to organize so many games played for non-conference and so many games for conference. It's up to them. It doesn't matter if it's earlier in the year, later in the year. They have to get those games in and scheduled, no matter the order. Publicity. Now, all sports are ran through the Fulton paper. And the nice thing about being updated and everything online, William Woods also and their athletics run online. You can find the stats, live games, schedules, the camps, anything that you need to find are ran through William Woods' website. Now, if a team wants to go out on their own and put up a flyer or put up a poster or want to use their social media accounts, they're more than welcome to. They're going to be there. The university is up to date and is always finding a way to keep everybody in the same loop by using the same thing. Coaching. All coaches are the same sex to their team, besides women's golf, tennis, and track, are ran by a man. So, with the Title IX audit, that can kind of maybe spark a flare, but at the same time, it's only 3 sports, and each of those sports are just, so say golf, there's one coach for both sexes. So for men's and women's golf, there's one coach. For men's and women's tennis, there's one coach. For men's and women's track, there's one coach. And it just so happens that they're ran by a man. Now, the head coach has done a really good job, though, in the past to also accommodate the coaching staff with a graduate assistant because that's what it's offered to having a female graduate assistant on staff just to kind of keep the numbers fair. Travel and daily allowance. Travel is it's based on the budget for team. So at the end of the day, you pretty much have to you gotta spend your money wisely. Because if you blow it there at the beginning, at the end, it might not be looking too good, especially for your travel. How are you going to get from one place to the next? How are you going to stay at a place if you don't have any money? You kind of have to balance it out, create a budget sheet, but that just depends on you as a coach and how you want to run your operation. If that's the case, if you want to go and spend your money on fancy things, you're probably going to have to fundraise a little more, just so you can have a little bit more of that income. And now every team, I mean, it's ran through the athletic department and the AD and the associate AD, fundraising ideas. But every team is, if they have an idea and they want to do something, either be alumni or working an event in town, out of town, just to kind of raise money for their program, they are more than welcome to. Tutoring, all student body. Here we go. Not just athletes, but students as well. All student body is ran through a tutoring service. So it's not just the athletes, but it's everybody. So provision of medical training facilities and services. We have one athletic training room for athletes. Now for students here, we also have a medical center as well. Going back to the athletic side of it, every game has a trainer present at your facility during your games. So if something were to happen, someone is on site. Now, as the athletic training room or athletic trainers are concerned, we have paid athletic trainers on staff. So services are all the same. Either that be treatment, ice, water, supplies, they're always going to be there for you. Provision of housing and dining facility and services. We have one dining center, which is used for all students. We have one quick stop and go place on campus. So if you want in between classes, Owl Nest, for all students, you can drop in and grab a coffee, a little snack before class. And all are welcomed to join Greek life and is promoted very heavily here for equal opportunity for all. There are 2 fraternities and 4 sororities. We have 2 apartment complexes, which are fairly decent size, usually for upperclassmen, and 7 dormitories for our younger students, any students, and our graduate assistants to live in as well. And the dormitories are co-ed. So male and female are both housed in the same place and being able to meet and have equal opportunities. The recruitment of student athletes. Everyone is held to a great standard, coaching-wise, for who they bring in. Being a private school, their standards are a little bit higher when it comes to the academic side of things and also the athletic side of things. Every team has a quota for team number that must be made each year, and rules for recruiting must be followed. There are no free passes. Like I talked about earlier, the AD and the athletic department do a really good job of keeping things up to date and keeping things on point. So no breaking rules. Sports services. They have our athletic director, our HR, financial aid, student life. It's all there for everyone to use and utilize. Doesn't matter if you're an athlete or just a regular student here at William Woods. Everybody's has a fair opportunity to use it, male or female. Now as we kind of went through the 11 things that were needed for prong 3, let's look at what steps William Woods has taken for their women's athletic participation opportunities in the recent years. In 2015, women's tennis was added. There's no club sports, but there has been talk of expanding more. The only reason that there hasn't been more so for the female athletic side or athletics in general is there's a lack of and a need for more money and accommodations if they were to add more teams. And also what they say here at William Woods and who I've talked to is there hasn't been much interest shown by females on campus to even add or want to add a club or another team. So hopefully here in the next year or so we'll see. For future progress, there's plans of expanding in 1 to 3 years. Now with the expansion, what I mean by that is they're thinking about building a whole brand new indoor gymnasium, locker room, facility galore, pretty much the Taj Mahal for athletics, not only for student athletes, but for the students and the community as well. Which that right there opens many doors and opportunities. There'll be facilities, hopefully campus interest, support from the community, a little bit of money, some funds. So with that being done, we'll see a little bit more interest in the daily lives of athletics. So we can keep growing as an athletic program. After doing this audit, William Woods does a really good job with what they have, with keeping everything fair and equal for both sexes. Thank you.